The prices of cars have risen to astronomical heights, and it is one of the most difficult financial purchases that you can make right now. So today, I'm going to talk about how much car you can actually afford using our 24/7 rule. So the first thing that you want to factor when it comes to buying a car is you need to figure out what the total cost of ownership is. The number one mistake that people make is when they buy a car, they look at the monthly payment instead of the total cost of ownership. Broke people look at the monthly payment. Wealthy people look at TCO. So let me show you how to calculate TCO, because it's really, really important to do this with any big purchase that you have. This includes your cars. This includes housing or any other major purchase that you think you're going to get yourself into. Obviously, cars are depreciating assets, meaning they are assets that go down in value over time. So the last thing you want to do is put a large portion of your net worth in cars. So the first thing you want to factor in is purchase price. Obviously, we all want to factor in purchase price when it comes to total cost of ownership, but purchase price is not the only cost for buying a car. Secondly, we want to factor in sales tax and fees. So when you buy a car, sales tax and fees are just throwing money out of the window because this is already a depreciating asset, and now you have sales tax, usually state taxes, and you have fees associated with the dealership. And you want to negotiate those fees as much as you possibly can because those are negotiable. Next is the cost of insurance. If you upgrade to a fancier car, you're going to have to pay more monthly in insurance. And in fact, the prices of cars are rising and the insurance costs on these cars are rising as well. So you have to make sure that you understand what the difference in your insurance costs are going to be before you actually purchase the car. For a lot of people, over the course of the last decade alone, their insurance costs have risen $200, $300, $400 per month just by upgrading their car. So when you upgrade your car, you got to figure out what those insurance costs are going to be because the costs of vehicles have risen so much, it costs more to insure those. In addition, fuel. If you upgrade to a nicer car, maybe you're going to have to pay more in gas. If you go from a sedan to a really fancy SUV, you're going to have to pay premium gas. So you got to make sure that you understand how much more you're going to be paying in gas. All of these monthly costs are going to come into play. Maintenance and repairs. Now, let me tell you, on a normal Toyota or Honda or any other car that has a long track record of having low maintenance and repairs, you don't have to worry about this as much. But when it comes to buying luxury cars, let me tell you, the most frustrating thing in the world is paying maintenance and repairs on luxury cars. I'm talking about Mercedes, BMW, and all the other ones out there. The reason for this is because just to get an oil change, for example, if you have to take your car to the dealership, just to get an oil change, it is hundreds of dollars and sometimes thousands of dollars depending on where you're getting it done. In addition, if you just need anything replaced, tires or anything on luxury vehicles, it is 4 to 5x more expensive than just a standard normal car. So when you buy luxury cars or any cars that are upgraded, make sure you understand what the maintenance and repair costs are. Now, when you go to the dealership, you can ask them, hey, can you send me a maintenance schedule and the cost of each of these things to maintain this vehicle? This will give you a bird's eye view of exactly what it would cost to maintain that car and see all the costs up front. The next one is the big killer. It is depreciation. Now, if you've never thought about depreciation before, it is a major factor when you buy a car. In fact, when you buy a brand new car, that car, when you drive it off the lot, is going to lose about 8 to 10% of its value immediately. So for example, if you buy a $30,000 car, you could think of just driving off the lot, rolling down the window, and throwing $3,000 right out of the window. Depreciation is the biggest cost that you're going to have with a car because your car goes down in value every second that you drive it. That is why cars are not good assets whatsoever. Then you got to think about license and registration fees, parking and tolls. All of these different things come into play for total cost of ownership. So it's not your monthly payment, it is all of these things factored in and including interest rate on your loan to figure out exactly how much you're paying on that car. So definitely make sure that you factor those numbers in before you even consider the 24/7 rule. Now, what is the 24/7 rule? What it stands for is 20% down on that car is what you need to put down. 4 is no more than 4 years of payments on that car. And the 7 is no more than 7% of your income to be spent on payments. So let's break each of these down. The first one is 20% down. Why do you need to put 20% down down on a depreciating asset. A lot of people say, hey, I don't want to put any cash down whatsoever. I'd rather put 0% down and try to get 0% interest on that car. Let me tell you why. Because if you do not put anything down, then what's going to happen is when you drive that car off the lot, all of a sudden, you're going to be underwater on that car. And over the course of the first year, that car is going to depreciate 20% over the course of the first year. So say, for example, you get into an accident. And if you get into an accident, you total that car. If you total that car, you are going to have to pay back the entire amount of that car, and your insurance is going to pay that back, but it's going to pay it back on the current value. And if it pays it back on the current value, you're going to have to pay 20% more because you got in an accident, you totaled that car, and the value went down 20%. So if you bought that $30,000 car, that car is only going to be worth $24,000 after a year. And if you total that car, you're going to owe $6,000 to the company who financed your vehicle. This is a major problem that you want to avoid at all costs. So can that 20% down be the trade-in of your old vehicle? Absolutely. You just want to have some skin in the game so that you don't get underwater on your car. I've seen way too many people get underwater on their car, and then they go into financial distress because they don't have an emergency fund and all these other things, and they have to pay more than the actual amount that their insurance is willing to pay for the car's value. That is something you definitely want to avoid, and how to avoid that is to put 20% down. The second rule is the 4, which means 4 years or less of terms on your vehicle. So the last thing you want to do is stretch out your monthly payments over a long period of time. A, you pay way more in interest by doing that, but B, you want to get this depreciating asset paid off so you don't have payments anymore, because you can take those extra payments, put them towards actual assets that grow over time, things like index funds and ETFs. Maybe you want to buy real estate. Maybe there's other things you want to invest in so that you can grow your wealth. The last thing you want to do is have monthly payments for a long period of time on something like a vehicle. Now, 4 years is the max. If you can, I would even try to get towards 3 years, because that is something that's really going to help you towards your financial independence goals. And then lastly, 7. So that means 7% or less of your gross income should be spent on payments throughout the year. So if you make $100,000 a year, $7,000 or less should be your car payments throughout the year. And this is going to help you make sure that you're not overpaying monthly on the car, because we don't want to look at the monthly payments. We want to look at total cost of ownership, but we want that number to be as low as possible. And the way to do this is with the 24/7 rule. Now, for folks who do not care about retiring early, if you don't want to retire early whatsoever, or you don't really care about optimizing whatsoever, and you love cars, maybe you are really into cars, then the key here is the purchase price should never be more than 35% of your income. That is the max you want to go. And I'm talking, this is for people who do not want to build wealth very quickly at all. If you want to work your entire life, then 35% max of your income is what you want to spend on a car. But I definitely would not do that if you're trying to really accumulate wealth. Instead, just follow the 24/7 rule. Now, if you want to find the best deal on cars, one of the ways that I like to do it is I like to look for cars that are 2 or 3 years used. This means that the car is already going to take that depreciation hit, and in addition, I'm going to be able to drive that car without it going down as quickly as it would as a brand new car. And I like to drive my cars for longer periods of time, because the longer you're willing to drive your car, that means that's the longer period of time that you will not have car payments on that car. So you can take those extra funds and put them towards wealth builders instead of these depreciating assets. So if you can drive your car for 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 15 years, maybe 20 years even, then that is a badge of honor for you and your wealth building ability. Because listen, the majority of millionaires are actually average folk. They're not the guys or gals who are driving Ferraris or G-Wagons or all these other things. Those are rich people who have a high income, but they do not have a lot of wealth. Most average millionaires out there in the United States today all drive average cars. So if you can figure out a way to drive your car longer, that is really going to help you accelerate your path to wealth. Listen, I hope you guys learned a ton about buying cars on this video. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and thank you so much for investing in yourself. That is what you do when you watch these videos. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will see you on the next video.